What is up, doll fam? Welcome back to an all new episode of D.D.O.D. If you are new here, that stands for Daily Dose of Doll. You're gonna get a dose of me on a topic of usually your guys' voted on choosing lately. Last time you guys voted on more information and more funny content from an issue I was having with a serial dick pic sender. Yes, he was a very interesting individual that we all kind of were mind boggled at. But I did another poll on my page way longer ago than it should have been, and I asked you guys what you wanted the next episode of D.D.O.D to discuss. I asked if you guys wanted to talk about what the hell is a bikini body, because if it's not the obvious, none of us are really sure. Or should we talk about the absolutely ridiculous and extreme online censorship so many of the platforms that we know, love, and use daily are enforcing anymore on just about anybody and everybody that seems to be really undeserving for the most part? It's never anybody who deserves it. But that's the topic that we are going to be talking about today. So if you guys want to hear more about it, sit back and let's get started. Now, before I get started on this topic and really getting into it, I want to dedicate this video to a very dear friend of mine, Miss Kitty Morningstar. I have known Miss Kitty Morningstar since I first started getting into pinup years ago, back when Facebook couldn't tell us apart and was tagging us in each other's photos like crazy. She is a beautiful woman. She is an amazing mother. She is strong and she is powerful, and she has been sharing her fight against breast cancer for a while now with all of us. And recently, due to how much Facebook and Instagram are changing their community guidelines and where they're censoring people and what they think should and shouldn't be allowed to be shared, Kitty Morningstar has been having tons of her content removed because they are claiming that it goes against community guidelines for adult, explicit, or sexual content. Now, Kitty Morningstar is such a badass, let me tell you, first and foremost. Not only is she going through something so extremely difficult, she just underwent her second mastectomy, and I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine going through one, and then she went through another, and she hasn't missed a beat. And I know, I'm sure she's had days where she just doesn't feel it, but that girl has been on top of it, sharing her journey with us, sharing information with us, her ups, her downs, her struggles. She has been inspiring so many of us through her journey. And you know, it really takes a lot to go through something like that as a human being, but then to take the time to be selfless and document it, to try and do everything you can to help anybody else also going through it, just blows my mind. She's an amazing individual, and she's really been under fire lately from Facebook and Instagram, who have been removing tons of her content because they're claiming it goes against community guidelines. Now, most of us know that you don't really know what's allowed to be posted anymore and what isn't, because so much of it contradicts the next. But what is shocking is how she can post something that shows her scars, or you know, just she always finds a creative way to pair a photograph with whatever she's sharing with us, whatever she's trying to teach us or inform us on. And she's been working really hard to promote what she's doing right now in her project of Don't Forget to Check. It is August 11th at 12 p.m. We're all going to change our profile pictures to help fight against this and help bring awareness and support Kitty and support breast cancer awareness, and also just a big middle finger to the social platforms who are trying to remove real life blogging, like real content, real important shares that its user is trying to put out there the way she is, and it's absolute crap. So if you guys want to know more about Kitty Morningstar, what she's doing, all of the projects that she's constantly working on, make sure you check out the links below. I'm going to find any and every link that I can to help support her movement. But this video is dedicated to her and all of the women out there, and even men, who try to do something good with their social platforms and are constantly kicked in the teeth by people like Facebook and Instagram, who are just really mistreating its honest followers. So Kitty, my love, this video is for you. Remember, don't forget to check out the links below so you can learn all about it. So I know a lot of you can relate to this topic, I'm sure. It's becoming a crazier and crazier thing that all of us have been dealing with across social media platforms as extreme online censorship kind of just grows out of control. And I kind of wanted to focus on my experiences that I can kind of share insight on and personal experience, but also talk about some things that I've seen from people in my friends list, my fans and my followers who have reached out to me whenever I share, you know, my experiences with being put in things like Facebook jail or being blocked from my pages over what you would hope to think wouldn't be reprimanded by these platforms, but 100% is. So recently, my latest Facebook jail stay, like my shirt says, repeat offender, was my first stay. I did my longest stay yet, and I was put in Facebook jail for 30 days for literally following their guidelines. And you're like, well, Emily, how is that possible? If you were following the guidelines, how did they? Well, Facebook doesn't care. That's why. It's almost impossible to use the Facebook platform at this point. You never know what you're going to say, what you're going to do, what you're going to post, what you're going to share, that they're going to decide all of a sudden isn't allowed, goes against whatever new rules that they've decided to make up, or even if it doesn't go against their rules, they still are just going to reprimand you because, I don't know, I guess they feel like it and they don't have anything better to do with their time. And I spent 30 days in Facebook jail for sharing a photo that was sent to me. It was a screenshot from a private message that a man was sexually harassing me in. He had sent me an unsolicited dick pic. I censored out the nudity. I censored out any type of anything that could get me in trouble. Also, who wants to see that? I know I didn't, so why would you guys? And I shared it talking about my experience with yet another person online who thinks that it's totally okay to sexually harass somebody. And when you speak out against it, I was told by this person that I was supposed to be grateful for the photograph he sent me. So, you know, you deal with these mindsets. You try to report the stuff to Facebook, and I cannot even tell you how many times I've reported messages, photographs, comments that are extremely inappropriate, just horrible, just violent verbal abuse from men online. I haven't experienced it really with women that often, or I would say that I have. And Facebook has told me that it's totally okay for them to speak to me that way. It's okay for them to sexually harass me. It's okay for them to verbally abuse me. It's okay for them to message me and tell me, you know, that I need to die or I just need to go kill myself because I turned down their dick pic. How dare I? Oh my God. And that's always shocking. I don't think I've ever reported anything to Facebook where they actually said that it went against it when it very clearly in the rules goes against it. I have reported the most basic things that are in the guidelines and Facebook will tell me it's fine. But as soon as I censor a photograph to share my experience and blog about it, because that's what I do, I was reported for sharing adult sexual content and I received a 30-day ban. How ass backwards is this platform getting? This is a consistent thing that I've been seeing get worse and worse and worse on Facebook. I see people talk about it all the time. I see businesses saying that they don't understand why they can't get to their pages because they've been blocked from posting. I've seen strangers, I've seen men, I've seen women, I've seen people of every race, every sexual orientation, every political standing all complain about the exact same thing, and the only thing that I can see tied to it is that usually the posts that I see people complaining that are getting them in trouble never make any sense, ever. And what I mean by that is I've literally met people who have shown me comment feeds where they will be being berated, bullied, threatened openly. Their personal information will be shared. They'll be being doxxed, which is illegal. They'll be being told that they're gonna have their families are gonna be killed for their ideas and what they think, or just the most horrific things you can think of reported, and Facebook says it's okay. Okay? For instance, there was an issue with a bully in a Facebook group. The bully was making horrific comments. The person that I spoke to came in and started talking to this person, trying to, you know, communicate with them, trying to talk to them about what they were saying, you know, stand up for the person they were attacking, and called the bully a dum-dum. Okay. It's not nice to call names, but that's what was said. In return, the bully threatened to slit this person's throat. He also reported the comment of being told he was a dum-dum. The person who said dum-dum reported the throat-cutting comment. Guess which person ended up in Facebook jail? I feel like the Facebook system is much like the real system. The people who really belong in Facebook jail for really horrible things never get put there and are just allowed to run rampant. And then the people who don't deserve to be there are getting 30-day bans for nothing. Now, of course, you could argue the fact that, you know, a lot of people want to say, well, this side is being targeted or that side is being targeted. Now, I'm not a political person. You all know this. I don't talk about politics. I don't get involved in politics. They're not my thing. There's enough people doing it. I'm going to let them handle that. But in regards to political postings that I see a fair share of both. I'm friends with a lot of different people who all come from all spectrums, who share a lot of different opinions, a lot of different mindsets, right? Both are claiming that they are treated the same way. They're both saying that they get censored, they get blocked, they get deleted, they get banned, they're losing pages, they're going to Facebook jail. So I'm not really sure, to say the least, which political side is being attacked. I can't really speak on that. But from what I've seen, that's a pretty even keel as far as who's being censored and who's being blocked. I see both sides complaining about it pretty equally. So I can't personally say anything on that specific censorship topic, but I can say that when it comes to what I've seen other people talk about, it's looking like just about everybody from either side. Facebook picks or chooses. It's not really one-sided or the other from what I've seen. I'm sure some of you will think differently. Now, when it comes to sexualized stuff, that's where it kind of gets frustrating for me, because I have friends in the photography industry, the modeling industry, the beauty industry, the fashion design industry, consistently get banned or put in jail for posting their work that they personally make sure doesn't violate guidelines, yet they'll get a ban for, and then 5 seconds later I'll see something in comparison that's a bazillion times worse that Facebook is totally cool with. What? I got put in jail for 7 days for sharing a photo with cleavage that they claimed was adult sexual content. I see guys in my feed constantly sharing photos of women, like, you know, there's just really basic sexual photos of women, like kind of maxim but more extreme, where they'll be like basically naked for the most part. All their bits will be covered. But if you're wearing a white tank top that's wet and I can literally see your entire nipple, I'm sorry, why is that okay but cleavage isn't okay, and I spent 7 days in the Facebook pin? It contradicts itself constantly. How are we supposed to follow guidelines that you guys can't even be consistent with? This is sometimes allowed, this isn't always allowed, this is okay, this isn't okay. Regardless, If you're gonna make a rule, can you at least make sure that it's an equal playing field for everybody? Because Roy Varga literally had to change a lot of his pinup posters because he was sharing the pinup photos that he shared for years that he's done that all of a sudden are getting him flagged for and getting in trouble with Facebook for sexual content. Masumi Max, the amazing Masumi Max, the model who has a beautiful and amazing beauty line, Get Into Sen, her cosmetics line, Facebook Marketplace flagged her lip swatches. Photos of just her mouth with wearing her lipstick shades to show the color. Facebook Marketplace flagged it, and she got in trouble because they were claiming that went against guidelines for adult sexual content. What? We can't have lips, y'all. It's against community guidelines. I had another person who told me they got flagged and sent me screenshots. People send me screenshots. This is proof stuff. They used a GIF that Facebook provides. Facebook provides a lot of GIFs. I've been put in Facebook jail for a GIF that Facebook provides for you to use. They used a GIF of a baby pouting. That's it. Facebook flagged it for adult sexual content. Are the Facebook bots drunks? Are they all alcoholics? Because I'm really confused by a lot of the adult sexual content flags Facebook is throwing out for everybody, because none of it makes any damn sense. And people are getting kicked off of their platforms every single day for ridiculous censorship like this. That's a waste of time if you think about the actual horrible things that are out there on the Facebook website. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to post on platforms like these when, you know, they consistently change their community guidelines, they consistently change their standards, and all of which keep getting more and more out of control, more and more extreme, to where there are pages out there that have been on Facebook, kind of like mine, for a really long time. There was recently, and I don't 100% know all the facts on this, you guys would have to Google it and look it up, but there was a gym on Facebook that recently had, they either had their entire page deleted or they just finally deleted their page because they couldn't ever use it. Every single time they got out of Facebook jail for something or being banned for something, a gym page, like a workout gym page, a very well-known, and they had tons of followers, right? Facebook would tell them they're sorry, you're breaking the rules again. you get another week in the shoe. you're in trouble. And it got to the point where they just were like, you know what? We've used the Facebook platform for our business for years, but we just can't do it anymore. This is out of control. We've done nothing wrong. We're posting with the guidelines. We're doing everything that we can, and we're just constantly getting put in. How are you supposed to even bother? And I get it. I mean, I totally get it. That's extremely frustrating. It's really frustrating. I struggle with being ghosted on Facebook because they want me to pay for ads. That's annoying enough with how they changed that. But now it's getting to the point where you cannot post anything without either somebody having the ability to report it for something to get you in trouble because they're offended, or Facebook auto-flagging you for things that literally don't even have anything to do with your post half the time. I definitely think that the community guidelines are getting out of control with these platforms, and a lot of people would be like, well, Emily, they are privately owned businesses, so if you don't like it, don't use them. And it's like, that's really, I mean, that's fine and good. You know, I get it. I totally get it. They have the right to basically do and screw over whoever they want, right? They do it all the time. Zuckerberg literally sells our information constantly. There's always a news story saying that Facebook has sold its users private information, or leaked it, or it accidentally got out, or whatever they want to say all the time. You know, it's just, it's one thing after the next with these things, and I really feel like it's gonna get to the point where you can't use these platforms at all. Because if it's not them censoring you for whatever stupid reason, there's people posting that they're getting Facebook jail time for posts that people are reporting that they did years ago, or Facebook auto-flagging posts that they did years ago before the rules were even in effect, which is extremely unfair in my opinion. How are you going to hold somebody accountable to rules that you didn't even create yet? That's unfair as shit. That's a horrible thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I fear every time I post anything anymore, like if I were still an active pinup model, if I was still doing pinup modeling, I mean, could I even do lingerie shoots at this point? Because trying to share a body positive post of a pinup holding her boobs like this, you could see nothing. Okay, she had a lot of cleavage because she had a really large set of beautiful toddies, so that's a lot to hold on to, but she did it. She covered all of her nipples, which is what they claim goes against community guidelines. I posted it and got 7 days. How? I didn't break the rules. I post a censored photograph to follow your rules and I'm put in Facebook jail for breaking rules. No, I didn't. You can always, of course, hit the button where you're like, I think you got it wrong. Okay, we'll look at it again. And what that means is that even if they do come back and say that they were wrong, you don't get out of your ban. I can't tell you how many people who have said that they reported their report to Facebook to look at it again, and Facebook says, oh, you're right, we were wrong. You didn't do anything against community guidelines, but guess what? We're gonna leave you in holding for the rest of your stay because, I don't know, we feel like it apparently. We just want to fuck with your life. The things that should be auto-flagged, the things that should be immediately taken seriously when reported, I never see taken serious. I literally have reported comments of open threats and no, Facebook is totally cool with it. But if you call somebody a dum-dum and they're offended by it and they report you for hate speech or bullying, you get 30 days. But if the reason you called them a dum-dum was because they were viciously bullying people online and you tried to stand up for the person who was being doxxed, which is illegal, because the bully thought that they could just do whatever they want and rules don't apply to them, much like most bullies, that's allowed. Them saying they're gonna slit your throat is allowed. Them threatening you for, I don't know, being gay, being transgender, being, you know, whatever your political standing is. There's so many things that I see that should be considered those things, but if you call somebody a dum-dum because they're bullying somebody and they report it because they don't like having that kind of stuff said to them, ironic, I know, then you get put in Facebook jail. The platform is so whacked. Like, the platforms are so whacked the way that they look at things, and I think a lot of the problem has to do with the fact that there is no real people. Everything is algorithms and bots and programs. It's not real people. You can't actually contact Facebook for help. You can't actually contact any type of customer service. And why do you think they do that? Because they don't really care. They want to be able to dictate and do whatever they want. And if they're going to screw up, they want to make sure that you can't complain to them about it because they don't want to listen to it. Like, there's nothing. There's no help. There's no real, you know, looking over situations or problems. There's nothing. So you're just kind of stuck with whatever card you get dealt on places like Facebook or Instagram, and that's exactly what my friend Kitty Morningstar is going through. You know, she can not post photos of her scarring on her chest, but you can go on any big name clothing brand, celebrity, designer. There's tons of content out there on their platforms from big name places that are allowed to post things either pretty similar as far as nudity or sexual content, but that's allowed. That's okay. But if you're posting something that's with standard or clearly in the same type of whatever, for something like trying to spread breast cancer awareness, then all your content's deleted? And you can't even get help for it? Like, you can't even say, hey, I'm a blogger, I'm trying to bring awareness to breast cancer in my story and what I'm going through. That's worth removing? But you can see naked photographs all day long trying to push or sell a product down our throat. That's allowed. But this isn't? I'm so confused. I think what it really comes down to is that, I mean, we have no control over any of these platforms. They're going to do what they want to do. They're going to change their guidelines. They're going to change their rules. They're going to break their own rules. They're going to contradict their rules. Nobody is safe, really. It really isn't. I feel like there's definitely people that I know who just seem to be targeted by places like Facebook. And it doesn't matter what they post, they're just always going back to Facebook jail constantly. They can literally do nothing. I had one person who was put in Facebook jail for 30 days. Facebook didn't tell him why, didn't say what post. There was no information. You couldn't fight it. And even when you do fight these things, coincidentally, every time I've tried to fight any Facebook ban, the page will never load. Ever. Like, there is no solution. If you're going to use these platforms, they're basically telling you that they're allowed to dictate and control whatever you do on a continual basis. 100%. And we can either, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, we can bitch about it like I'm doing all day long, but unfortunately, big, you know, companies like Facebook, who own Instagram, so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're completely 100% dictating what their you know, users are allowed to post or share, and a lot of the times completely breaking rules of their own. Like, you can prove them 100% wrong and it doesn't matter, and that's scary. That really sucks. Like, there was a history teacher, he was a history teacher on YouTube, who recently had all of his content deleted. And it was like 15 years, and he was a teacher, he was a professor at a college who was teaching, I think it was some type of history. It was world history or some type of history. And a lot of his teachings covered things, like he talked about, you know, Nazi propaganda was the biggest thing. That's what was targeted. He was teaching on Nazi propaganda and was just talking from he's a professor at a college. Like, he's teaching on the historical, factual content of Nazi propaganda, and his entire channel was deleted. All of his videos were deleted. Now, this man wasn't like cheering for it, rooting for it, he wasn't pushing it. He was a teacher teaching on past historical events. That's it. And everything was deleted by YouTube. 15 years of hard work was deleted because it had like the word Nazi in it or some dumb shit like that. You don't even have to do anything wrong, and you just get pushed into this box of, this isn't allowed to be talked about anymore, you're not allowed to say this anymore, you're not allowed to think this anymore, you're not allowed to talk about this topic anymore. Doesn't matter what your view is, doesn't matter what your stance is, doesn't matter what context is, doesn't matter what, nothing matters other than this isn't allowed anymore, so we're just gonna delete it entirely. And that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand how completely deleting or silencing something just because it may offend a group of people fixes anything. In that case, We need to know about the fucked up shit so we don't repeat the same fucked up shit. Not letting anybody know that it happened is surely more likely to lead to something horrible happening again before it encourages somebody to continue that, right? I mean, that's my thoughts on it. I'm sure other people will 100% have a different opinion on that, and that's what the show is about. It's our opinions on these matters. But be careful what you say, because I'm not in control of these platforms, and if you say something that pisses one of them off, they might ban you. I think in closing on this topic of D.D.O.D, I'm going to talk about the overly offended nature of the general population anymore has really led to, I think, a lot of these problems. It's like these platforms are starting to cater to people who like literally would be offended by a kitten's face. Like, when it comes to people being offended by things online and reporting them and demanding that they be pulled and demand, like, it goes along with cancel culture, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter that the human race is allowed and functions on different wavelengths to where they think different, they feel different, they have different opinions. Discussions are going to have different levels, they're going to have a lot of different, you know, layers. None of that's allowed. If you're offended by something, they just go at it like crazy rabid animals until they have whatever has offended them removed and burn out just entirely. And I think that that's insane. I think that that's absolutely insane. I do not think people should get to control the rest of humanity over what offends them. There's a lot of things that offend me, okay? There's a lot of things that I'll see in my news feed, or I'll be scrolling and I'll be like, I don't like that. And you know what I do? I unfriend somebody, or I unfollow them if it's like one opinion of theirs that I don't share. Or I just think that people have been given this entitlement through social media and social platforms and online safety nets that they feel like they can control and dictate other people who piss them off, and that's wrong. And platforms like Facebook allow that kind of stuff all the time. You can report something that's actually horrible and it gets through, but if you have a difference in opinion on like politics, somebody can report you and get you banned for who knows how long for hate speech when you simply just said you didn't agree with them. Like, that's crazy to me. We can't silence things that we don't like just because we don't want to deal with them. That's not healthy. Like, that's not healthy. If you don't like it, you don't agree with it, it offends you, remove it from your life. There's so many people online who take advantage of things like the report button, or they call people's jobs to try and get them fired, or they stalk and harass you online, they dox you online and share your personal information, trying to get other people to get involved in harassing. Like, that's gross behavior. Like, grow up. What the fuck? Grow up. If those are the kinds of things that are upsetting you, remove them from your life. Don't interact with those people. You don't have to have them around. I understand, and I'm not talking about people who are like standing up for activism or for what they believe in when it comes to any topic. What I'm talking about is people who have this entitlement that whatever they think, whatever they feel, whatever they personally deem acceptable, unacceptable, they're allowed to cram it down other people's throats. And if you don't, that's what she said, and if you don't bow down to them, then they use things that platforms like Facebook provides to protect its users. They use it in such horrible ways, and it's out of control. It's literally out of control. You need to get control of your emotions. You need to get control of your entitlement. And you need to understand that there's going to be a lot in this world that makes you unhappy. You don't have to allow it into your personal life. But these people somehow just feel like it's their job to put you in your place. Like they won't quit. It's their job to put you in your place, silence you, teach you a lesson. Because they're mad, because you pissed them off, because you triggered them, because they're offended. And it's literally everything. Nobody is safe anymore. Nobody. Not even the kittens. So I think that's going to be it for this episode of D.D.O.D. I think I talked about a lot of things. If you guys want to take part in the conversation, share your experiences, share your thoughts, share your opinions, please do so below. Feel free to share this video to spark the D.D.O.D. conversation of online censorship and the extremes of banning, the extremes of reporting, the extremes of people being offended, the extremes of how everything seems to be sexual content anymore, even pouting babies. But feel free to interact in the comments below, because that's what we do here at the Doll Fam. The Doll Fam movement does not end with me. You guys have a huge part in the Doll Fam movement. Every comment, every share, all of that continues to spread the message, continue the conversation. So feel free to share your experiences below, share this video, and make sure you give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, I mean, you can give me a thumbs down if I've offended you, but I won't be offended by that. I don't give a fuck. I'm not that easily offended. Be sure to check out the links below to help support the Don't Forget to Check movement that my dear friend Kitty Morningstar is working so hard on. Every time she gets something going, Facebook either removes her posts, removes her photos. She started a Facebook event that they deleted, so it's just been one thing after the next for her. So if you guys want to help out, be sure to check out the information that I posted below. I've posted links for her Facebook, her Instagram, her YouTube. If you have any questions, you can always contact her on those platforms. But she spreads an amazing message, so much knowledge. Not to mention, she's just a badass chick. She's hilarious. She's so real. She's so down to earth. And she's extremely positive, and I think that we need more of that in this world. So remember to check out the Don't Forget to Check movement and Kitty Morningstar and all of the hard work that she is doing to help spread awareness for breast cancer. If you guys have an idea for another episode of D.D.O.D, be sure to, I don't know, post in the comments. You can contact me through any of the things that I have posted below. If you want to help support the Doll Fam movement, you can check out the new subscriber option over on my Facebook page, where I post additional bonus content for my official Doll Fam squad subscribers that is either unseen by anybody else, extra special perks for being hardworking members of the Doll Fam, and I also post sneak peeks or early release videos and content on there. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to click the link below. Just know that people are always going to be offended. There's not really anything we can do about it. It's really frustrating. It's really annoying. And Facebook doesn't really do anything to help any of us with any of that. So if you guys want to help the Doll Fam movement continue on with its positivity and letting people know that they always have a place at our table, because the Doll Fam always has extra seats, be sure to check out the new subscriber option over on my Facebook page, where you can contribute to the Doll Fam movement and my content so I can keep growing, we can keep spreading positivity and love, minus all of the negative bullshit that seems to be everywhere else on every other feed. I don't know, I just want to say that I think that this is just something that we're gonna have to deal with more and more. I think that it's gonna get more out of control. There's gonna be more censorship, there's gonna be more dictating, there's gonna be more, you know, just silencing is what it is. It's silencing, and you can't silence. I don't think anybody should be silenced. I think everybody has a right to speak their truth, speak their opinions, speak their beliefs. If it actually is towards harming others, bringing harm, hurting, if it's real hate speech, if it's real, you know, negative, if it's real harm, if it's real danger, if it's real bullying, we really need to focus more on the real and the reality and the facts, instead of so much time being wasted on fake bullshit, in my opinion. You know, I think that if these platforms focus more on controlling that real stuff, instead of spending so much time wasted putting people in Facebook jail for using gifts that they themselves have given, maybe you would actually see less of the nastiness on Facebook. Less of the I don't really see shit like that on Instagram. Facebook is probably the biggest cesspool that I've seen. But, you know, I've seen full-blown pages that are used for bullying allowed to be left up. But I've seen people try to stand up to bullies who get in trouble. I see all of the people who need to be convicted by these platforms allowed to continue their harassment and their bullying and their hate and their just nastiness on a continual basis, when people who are just trying to share their photography are getting put in the slammer every 2 weeks because you shared too much cleavage in your picture. How dare you? Like, there's real gross stuff out there. There's people literally being harassed and doxxed all across your platforms for just being who they are. Just being who they are. And that's allowed, but female nipples are really highly looked down upon. I think that these platforms need to really reevaluate their priorities and what they're doing. I think that the platforms, the algorithms, the systems that are used are dog shit. I think that there is no real anything. I think that it's all just a huge mess, and we see it more and more every day. Like, you're not going to be able to ever say anything on Facebook. You're not going to be able to post. You're not going to be able to share. You're not going to be able to do anything, because the simplest things will get you time. For what? For what? I don't know. Facebook doesn't know. Facebook doesn't care. Facebook doesn't care about you. Thanks for watching. Remember that I absolutely love your faces. Thank you for being an active part of the doll fam. And I'll see you next time. Bye!